Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and another episode which we're doing art. So I have these acrylic paint set that I got at Hobby Lobby and I want to try them out. But first I need to test out a technique that I want to try before I actually work on a project that I have in mind. So I have this canvas that I'm taping to the floor because again I don't have anywhere to work. I don't have a proper art studio or crafting room or anything like that, so I'm working with what I got. So I'm just laying down some painter tape to hold the canvas in place, the canvas sheet, because it's not an actual proper canvas like you would normally see paintings on. And now I'm dividing it into 3 sections because I will be trying 3 different techniques here. So I'm separating them so that I could try each one in a different little area. So for technique number 1, we are going to be taking out these paints and I struggle a bit. I should have just got some scissors again. I have a habit of misplacing my scissors. So yeah, this is a small set of acrylic paints that came from Hobby Lobby. I'll show them right here. Yeah, they're small tubes, not really big, just to like try out to see if you want to get the bigger versions of these paints. And I'm choosing the colors here. Show off the names of them right there. In case you want to try this with me. I do gotta get better at where my camera is angled, because sometimes I aim it off to the wrong side. So yeah, this first technique is basically just you dot on the paints you're going to be using onto the canvas, and from there you would just for one paint as well as mixing the colors as you go along. So I have a dark blue, a light blue, and a yellow. And for the most part, I don't think I used enough of the paint because, as you'll see here, I have to add a bit more in. And even then, it was still not going into all of the corners of the canvas. I'm not sure why. It might have just been the yellow. I'm not sure. So here we go, mixing it in with the blue, and it starts turning into a type of green color, which I really liked. That was really nice. And then that one fades into the actual blue color it is. And again, I didn't put enough dots, so I had to add in a few more. And then into the darker shade of the blue. Again, the 2 blues mixing together really looked really nice. And I didn't have enough of the dark blue, and I didn't want to add in more, so I made the decision to add in some permanent black, which I didn't show off, but that's the last color that's right there. And that one was a very pigmented black. Like it was there, it showed up. And yeah, this is just using the same brush, one single brush for everything. This is how it looks from my perspective. It was a nice gradient of the colors. For this second technique, I'm going to be using this, it's actually a watercolor palette, but since it already has watercolors in it, I'm just going to be using the outside of it. So I'm going to put the paints on the outside and go from there. For this technique, it does require the one brush I'm going to use to spread the paint, as well as another brush to mix them, to mix the 2 colors, if that makes sense. So here's the permanent black from before. I believe this was crimson, scarlet, and lemon yellow. So I'm just adding a little bit of dots again, but this time to the palette, not directly onto the canvas. I think the longest part was trying to remove the little foil that was on top of the paint tubes. It took forever for me to try and get them off, and I was just like, I didn't want to waste a lot of time struggling with that, so I was trying to go as fast as I could. There are my colors, and now we're going to begin to paint. As you could tell, it is a lighter yellow than the one before it that I used in the previous technique. And I think I went a little too light, like it should have been more paint there, but I don't know, it was just drying really, really fast, and it wasn't really blending well, because that's what I'm trying to do with that other brush. I'm trying to blend it nicely, and it wasn't working for some reason. So I tried to wash it off in some water that I had nearby. And I think that's where my mistake came in, because I tried to dry it off and then I tried to mix with it right here. That was the moment where I think I messed up, because it turned it more into watercolor paints, and I was like, no, that's not, it made it really watery. It made it super watery so that the next color didn't really want to go on as well. So I think I kind of messed that up, unfortunately. But again, the technique at the top with the red and the yellow wasn't really working. And something you can't see, which you might see later, is that it kind of went on to the first panel that I did. The brush was so watery that it splattered not only onto the first panel that I did, but also onto the floor. There were a few spots of red that I found later on once all of the tape was removed, and I was like, how did that get there? So yeah, this one didn't really work out that well. But like I said, this is why we're trying them out. So yeah, up there, that's not really that great. It didn't blend that well, still didn't work. And this one did better, and as you can see, there's some little red dots in the paint that were from the other side. Yeah, that first one worked really well. But now we're moving on to the third technique. So this third technique is using multiple brushes. Same thing like the second one, but in this case, we're dipping our brush into the water to kind of make it diluted a bit, and using a dry brush to blend it a bit more. So we're choosing that light blue again, and then we're going to take a green. Oh no, it's the dark blue. And then the permanent black. And there's the water I have. So I'm dipping my brush in and trying to like dry it out a bit. And then there we go. One of the things that I forgot to do when I first started trying it is it said to keep dipping your brush back into the water each time. Each time you go back for paint, you were supposed to dip it in, and I did it like every other time, but I still think it worked out rather well. And now you'll see that I'm starting to use the side of the cup to try and dry it off rather than use my fingers and get them all covered in paint. And if you notice at the back, it's not exactly the same black color as the other two blacks in the other two panels. It did really make it look like watercolors, which is not a bad thing, but it did thin out the water. And it didn't use a lot of the paint. That was the insane thing. This one definitely blended a lot more nicer than the other ones. second one really didn't work out so well, and this first one did pretty well. It combined some colors there, but I really, really like the third one. I do apologize for the light shining on the canvas. There was really no great way for me to take a picture without either the camera being in the way or there being light shining on the canvas. So of these three techniques, I like this one the most. It did dry very well. Like, it's not tacky or anything. Also, here's a little bit of ASMR of taking off the tape. So which of these techniques do you like? Let me know in the comments below. Which one do you think you would try? Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.